Dronr.
Hey, what's up, Dronrs? B here with Dronr Tech, and today we're gonna do one of my favorite things to do, and that is a Dronr Dialogue. I'm gonna tell you guys a little bit about a crazy drone story that the drone team got to experience. So, well, let's just do it. All right, so as you may or may not know, I get to fly with glide aerials quite often, and that is pretty much the drone wing of Transit Pictures. And what we got to do recently is work on a major television network show that I can't tell you the name of yet because this just happened. And the first thing I want to tell you guys about is some new protocols that are happening with COVID. Is that pretty much every set now is making sure that you guys actually get a test, or anyone gets a test before they show up. This particular set, they made us get a test 3 days before and then a test the day of, and temperature test, and as well, obviously, contact tracing, tracking information to make sure that nobody is spreading it. Lunches have become so lonely because they make you sit at your own table at lunch. That's the only time you're allowed to take off your mask. And all the other boring things, staying 6 feet away from everybody. These are all important, but they are boring because you don't get to have the same kind of interaction that you get to anyway. Even though I'm a drone pilot, I'm outside, I still have to stay far away from everybody. So the crafty is gone. If you don't know what crafty is the best thing that's ever happened to production. It's pretty much the snacks and the things that are available for you to eat all day long. They normally have like a table. Sometimes they have like people setting up food all day long that you can just eat and get fat, and it's fantastic. But no longer that. You can have water or coffee that you have to drink in designated areas away from everybody else. So we got to shoot with a really, really big television show that is working with a production company called Fremantle Media. Can't tell you the name of it, but that should give you enough if you want to do your own research. Pretty cool stuff. And the day started out pretty decent with actually some pool shots at a outdoor pool, obviously. Just getting some B-roll of some subjects, you know, getting them looking all good. But what really was interesting was what happened in the afternoon. And this is the reason why we have a Dronr Dialogue for today. Is in the afternoon, it was time for us to be able to see one of our main people on camera out on a roof in LA, on top of a very famous theater area. And what had happened is we were getting ready. The people who were supposed to be up on the roof were higher profile people, and it was time. Like, the producers looked at us, like, okay, cool, let's go. But at that same time, well, you just take a look. Yeah, what you're seeing right there is a helicopter, a police helicopter that actually just was circling right within our airspace at about 150 feet and like right in front of us. And the producers, director, everybody was like, take off. I'm like, no, we can't do that. If you didn't know, when you're working within the city limits of Los Angeles County, for the most part, you're gonna have to go through get your permitting through FilmLA. And FilmLA requires all drone work to have an FSO, that is a fire safety officer, that is here to be able to make sure that we're following all the laws of the Part 107. It's a very interesting thing that I've talked about before is why do you have a city employee enforcing federal law for something? But either way, we're not gonna get into that. That's when they show up and they pretty much don't bring anything, literally just their suit. Like, you think like, well, maybe they're gonna have a fire extinguisher in case the drone blows up. No, they just show up themselves and just stand there and make sure that you follow the rules. All that aside, we had an FSO on set, and we also had the building manager there, and we had to make a choice because they were telling us to take off. And the first most important thing you should always know about being a drone pilot, and your most important job over everything else, regardless of what you're shooting, is safety. Priority number one is safety. And safety became an issue at this point. We have to give way to any manned aircraft. So hitting a helicopter is beyond not an option. And so for us to take off at that moment would be putting people in danger, those people in the helicopter and possibly all the people beneath the helicopter in case we brought it down. Not worth it. So we had to let them know we can't take off until the helicopter clears. Afterwards, the manager of the space was just like, the building was like, yo, that was really dope. You guys are professionals. The FSO seconded that and said, you guys did the right things. If you would have taken off, I would have shut the whole production down. So it became a whole thing. But then it got even more interesting. And so the helicopter kept circling. We're just like, we're never gonna get this shot. And the FSO was like, hold my fire extinguisher. I got you, even though he didn't have a fire extinguisher. He made a call. He's like, let me just make a call real quick. He made a call, and about 5 minutes later, the helicopter just took off. And then he hangs up and was like, yeah, I know some people over at the police department. They weren't doing nothing. They were just messing around. So you guys are good now. Go ahead and fly. And I was just like, the jaw, like Trevor was the pilot. Like, this dude's jaw was on the ground. He's just like, actually, can I have your card? Like, I'm gonna have your card forever because you literally made a phone call and made a police helicopter like leave the set. Like, that is just like, it felt like God tier power. Like, he could do that, and we were able to get all the shots. Everyone was really happy. So for me, couple lessons came from this. Number one, obviously safety comes first. Know when to say no. There's gonna be a lot of pressure as a drone pilot. The biggest pressure always comes from when you're being asked to do things that you shouldn't do, like fly illegally while another aircraft is in your airspace that you're supposed to give way to, which means that you're supposed to land and stay away from them in every way, shape, or form. So, kudos to Glide for making sure that we always follow those rules and do things the way we're supposed to. And the second lesson is you never know who has what power around you. Never would have expected a fire safety officer to be able to call the police department and tell them to skedaddle a helicopter away from us so that we can get our film and TV shot. Like, okay, priorities, who cares? They did it and we're happy. So yeah, that's your Dronr Dialogue for today. I would love to know if you guys have any stories of any kind of law enforcement being able to help you as a drone pilot to be able to get the things you want to get. Because I know there's a lot of stories of people always, like law enforcement stopping you from doing any things. Have you ever had any examples where the law enforcement helped you? I really want to know. Tell me in the comments below. All right, guys, thank you so much for checking out another episode of Dronr Dialogue. Please show us that you support this by subscribing, liking, and sharing the content, because we out here like that. And as always, I need you to make sure you stay fly.